Hello, it's my pleasure to be here with you again. I have the pleasure of talking today with one of the newest and most important firms, the owner and founder of the firm, Tiagha Associates here in Philadelphia, which is a transactional law firm. And I'd like to introduce him to you also. Thank you for joining us today. This is Kahiga Tiagha.
Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here and looking forward to a great conversation.
That's great. Tell us that name. Now, come on, that is clearly not a Philadelphia name. Tell us where that name comes from.
Absolutely. I'm fortunate to be born to African parents. Kahiga is a Kikuyu name. Kikuyu is the largest tribe in Kenya, and it means small stone. Tiagha is a Cameroonian name. My father's from Cameroon, and that means rock. So in some circles, it's a little joke that we have in the family. My name is Pebble Rock. But, fortunate enough to be born here in the United States, but have lived abroad quite a bit in both of those countries.
Now, my listeners are hearing you with that great accent, and it sounds a bit British, it sounds a bit French. Comment allez-vous?
Très, très bien. Non,
c'est bon, monsieur, c'est bon. C'est magnifique.
Merci beaucoup. J'avais l'opportunité, j'ai vécu en France pour une année, et j'ai vécu en Cameroun pour 9 ans. And what I just told the audience is that I lived in France for a year, luckily in Grenoble, and I'm sure we'll get into the story about it, but for 1 year doing a master's in international political administration. But also, as I just mentioned, my father's from Cameroon, and we were fortunate enough to live in the French-speaking part of the country, and so I naturally picked it up being not only a student, but having friends on the playground and just learned French that way.
Wow. So you can see with a little bit of hard study from a small pebble to a hard rock, you can just learn French from on the playground, right, while you play in the sandbox.
Absolutely. Right. I'll be sure to use that expression between the family.
Most of us who study languages don't find it that easy. But tell us about your time here in Philadelphia. Tell us about how you got to Philadelphia.
Sure.
By way of the Cameroon, by way of France. What do you think is the piece about you coming to Philadelphia and staying and opening this amazing firm here in the city, in Center City?
It's a long, circuitous route, and to make a long story short, I would say the why I'm Philadelphia is mostly because of family. I have traveled and I've been away from home. I went to boarding school at the age of 10. I traveled.
And where was boarding school?
In Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
I Bamenda, Cameroon. I went to Sacred Heart College, Mancom, which is one of the premier boarding schools for Anglophones. In spite of living in the Francophone part, I went to school about 6 hours away from home.
Wow.
And just that's where the people who were fortunate enough to get the appropriate academic success were sent. And so at age 10, sent off there. And at age 15, had the privilege of going to school in England as well, so traveled there on my own. And after finishing there, I came back to Washington D.C. for law school, where I attended the George Washington University Law School. And then my older brother's a dentist. He was at Temple University Dental School, and I wanted to be close to family. So I came back here to be close to family, and of course he takes off a year later, but I'd gone to North Carolina. But I stayed in the city, and it was a pretty tough go at first, but over time, I understand the expression, there's no place like home. Philadelphia is the longest place I've ever lived in my life. It's now the 13th year that I've been here, and I certainly feel walking down the streets of Philadelphia that this is home now.
13th is a lucky year. I got to meet you a few years ago, and we share a listserv that we're both on, and so we got to connect, and I kept seeing this name and thinking, what kind of name is that? What kind of name is that? And so I got to sort of be engaged with you through phone conversation and invited you to be a part of the Brothers Network, and you've been a tremendous supporter of the Brothers Network and the work that we do here in Philadelphia. Well, your interests are expansive. Tell us about the work that you do on the Mayor's Commission.
Sure. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a moment just to talk a little bit about the Brothers Network and the reason why. Obviously, starting a law firm, you have lots of different obligations, and being in the city for as long as I have been, I've committed myself to various causes. The Brothers Network, however, has been an organization in its mission that promotes, frankly, a different image of black men, specifically, highlighting men who are dedicating their lives to positivity, men who are dedicating their lives to intellectualism. And that's not a deadly word with the Brothers Network, and that's a natural appeal to me. And so I didn't want to gloss over that part because it's been an instant, quite frankly, love affair with the organization. And we're very, very proud at Tiagha Associates to be a supporter not only of the organization as a whole, but the Henry Box Brown Festival that is taking place April of this year. So thank you very much for reaching out, and we're proud to be a supporter.
Thank you. We're happy to have you.
Sure.
So tell us about that and how you're going to engage the larger and bigger community from your position with the Mayor's Task Force.
Sure. So specifically, the name of the Mayor's Commission is the Mayor's Commission of African and Caribbean Immigrant Affairs, a mouthful. And I serve in the particular capacity of being the chairman of the Legal and Immigration Committee. And especially in a year where immigration reform is being discussed as robustly as it is my charge not only to educate the larger African and Caribbean community, that diaspora quite frankly, on the immigration reform issues, but also to advocate, because currently there are no Black or African or Caribbean voices at the table, making sure that the conversation is tailored around their particular concerns, and it's also to disseminate the information as widely as possible. I think largely we're not included in the conversations just broadly in the city, which is why the commission was formed.
And how long has the commission been in existence?
It's been in existence since 2006 in its nascent form, and has generated offshoots in various other organizations, business organizations, other immigrant advocacy organizations, but the commission itself since 2006, 2007.
Issues that are central to you besides immigration and fairness and equality include HIV and AIDS, so tell us about your work with that.
Absolutely. So I had the privilege of serving on the board of the AIDS Law Project of Pennsylvania, which is an exemplary organization in terms of bringing a cogent legal argument in defense of those who have been discriminated against, HIV and AIDS. And I had the additional fortune of representing him as chairman for 3 years. And so I learned a lot from the organization. My motivation was not only based on family members themselves who were afflicted by HIV, but also at the time, and having a desire to go back to to the continent and try to spread as much knowledge as possible. I wanted to understand the issue from a policy standpoint.
That's right.
Which is why I committed myself, and it was a great time. I learned a lot, and I'm glad that I served.
That's great. And Treehouse Books, I see you're involved with Treehouse Books a little bit.
Sure, mostly through an associate of ours at the firm, Samantha Lyons, who has really committed herself, and the organization is intended to help inner city children read. While I was fortunate to work at one of the larger law firms in the city of Philadelphia, it's now several years ago, but we had a lunchtime program where we would read to children who came in and spend an hour with them, and that one of our colleagues at the firm is interested in spreading the message of reading and educating and making education cool, much like the Brothers Network. I am delighted that we're involved, and again, every little counts.